Hi, it is your girl JB, also known as your Christian girl best friend on YouTube. Anyways, I kind of wanted to talk about more regarding, I guess, like the catfish from Gaia Online and, meeting Boo Boo Stewart. I had made a video about it a while back. Last year, it was May 3rd. It's called From Boo Boo the Fool to Meeting the Real Boo Boo Stewart, the backstory. It looks something like this. Don't know if you can see that, but that is a video of me basically talking about, the catfish and, meeting Boo Boo Stewart and, the experience around that. It's pretty much the shorter video explaining about it. It's like 9 minutes long, but this one is going to be a more longer expounded video, I guess, regarding the catfish, like more details. And I guess like my overall experience with relationships and psychosis, and eventually meeting Boo Boo Stewart. But yeah, I'm gonna go from the very beginning, talking about the catfish. So I dated the catfish back in the early days of Gaia Online. It was around like 2009, 2010. So I want to say it was like maybe a couple of months within that year kind of thing. And, these are basically like my formative years of relationships, or just, dating in general. I was about maybe like 11 or 12 years old. But, like during that time, it's just like, you desire love, you want love. You just want kind of like acceptance, or it's just like, kind of awkward during that time. But I mean, pretty much that's around the age that I dated this person. And then after a while, we kind of like drifted apart. So then I started to date like other people on Gaia Online. And then eventually I came back to the original person I dated. That catfish was actually the first person I had dated. So kind of like around the time I got on Gaia Online, I actually, yeah, they were the first person I had dated. So but yeah, I'm not really gonna get too much into like details or whatever regarding the relationship, because to be honest, I don't exactly like, I guess, like remember everything. So there's really no point to mention like certain details. But what I can tell you what I do remember. So I remember like my latest, I guess like my last kind of memory with them kind of thing is like so my first Psychosis episode, it was around the first time I accepted Christ, because before I didn't really believe in God kind of thing. But that's besides the point. I actually have a video on that as well. I remember during that time I asked him about his faith, and he said he was Catholic, and I asked him to pray for me because my mental was basically deteriorating. And I didn't exactly say it like that because I didn't really have the words for it at the time. I probably said something along the lines of like, can you pray for me? I don't but that's probably something around something that I said. But I will say I didn't really exactly feel supported during that time. And then eventually, I remember going through the psychosis and eventually being in the mental hospital, finally coming back to my senses, or my awareness. I remember during visiting hours, I was asked about a guy that I was dating, which, during the time, it was, quote, Raimundo, or, the catfish's name, and where I met him from, and my aunts told me he's not real. And for me, it was like, how do you know? You're not on Guy Online. But it's not something I actually like had said. It was just something that I was thinking, you know. And eventually, when I got home from the mental hospital, I decided to backtrace the images. And he had on his profile, you know, on Guy, you can put pictures on your profile. So I backtraced it, and I saw this from Photo Bucket. And I saw the name and the last name, which I'm not gonna like say what it said, but which during the time, the images that he had saved on his Photo Bucket, I was like, what? Like, I don't know. It just seemed kind of weird. So I backtraced those images again, and I found the images, and it was a young 16, 17-year-old Boo Boo Stewart. And at the time, I found out sometime in the beginning of September 2012. So roughly around the time I was already out of the mental hospital during that time. And I had also backtraced the images he sent of himself in messages, because he also had picture that he sent me in messages. It was two of them. But that was from 2009, 2010, so like around the early times that we were dating. But I still had those images. So and during the time that those pictures were when Boo Boo was like maybe 13, 14 years old, which I was like 11 or 12. But again, I didn't really know those were Boo Boo Stewart's pictures until later. I just had connected the dots during that time. So and I remember he had said that those were pictures of him at Hawaii, or the ones that he had described during the time. Hopefully I'm making sense here, because what I mean is, like, during that time, that's what he had said about those pictures. But like I said, during that time, I wasn't really putting two and two together during that time. But it's just what I recollect and remember that he said about those pictures. But also, being a child, you're just kind of more gullible and trusting during that age. And I say this also because I remember on Gaia they have like threads, or yeah, kind of like where you could like post whatever it is that you want to say on there, depending on the topic. Kind of reminds me of Reddit a little bit. Just you can, you know, basically say whatever, pretty much. And I remember someone had made a quote commenting on whatever it is that they said. I don't know exactly what it is that they said, but they were just like, hey, you look like that boy from Twilight. Now, did I research that during that time? No, but you know, I had no idea what Twilight was. Also, I didn't suspect anything, because I was thinking just, oh, they look alike. You know, but, or at least like, you know, surface level, I was like, you know, maybe they just look alike. I don't know. Wasn't thinking about it. And also, I really wasn't into celebrity culture like that, so yeah, I didn't care around that age. So, and I also remember this online person that I was dating. They said they had a sister named Nala, and I also remember her pictures being on her profile, but it was like, I don't know, it seemed like authentic, and even had pictures of her by the pool or hanging upside down against the wall, and random swag photos with other girls and with Red Bull Red Bull? Not Red Bull. Yeah, that's like, I don't know. I'm not, I'm still not into, I guess culture. I wasn't into culture back then, but like the Red Bull snapbacks. And, I wasn't able to trace her pictures. I didn't ever confront her either, because at that point it's like, you're both liars, and I don't know whether to trust her or the pictures either, even though I know for sure that wasn't a celebrity picture. So but yeah, but also to me, it was just a very confusing thing for me back then. But okay, so then after all of that, I found out in 2012 I pretty much dated online. Let's see, I guess like on Gaia, but like not too many people like that. I don't know, maybe like one or two after. I don't know, but I pretty much during that point, I was just burnt out from the idea of relationships, or at least online relationships. I figured they don't actually get anywhere. And let's see, I think the longest relationship was, well, online relationship was probably like 2014, 2018. So roughly about like 4 years. But I decided to cut it off because I feel like they're never gonna see me in person. And they always complain about how to get to me, so I decided it was best to cut it off. But also, there was also certain things I didn't like. But that's besides the point. Don't really want to get into the details of this relationship because it was also kind of like a turning point for me, because he's kind of initially why I decided I don't want to do any more online relationships, because it felt like they don't get anywhere. So it was just no point to me. But I mean, it's just kind of like one of those things that add on, you know. And I want to say around 2019 of January, I started to date somebody in RL, or real life, you know, for the first time. It lasted a year. Before this relationship, I would say that I was like pretty emotional, because I had just barely broke up with the online person and transitioned into a real life relationship. The whole relationship of dating the real life person, or the person in real life, was like pretty messy, which I'm really not gonna get into that one either. So I mean, I kind of already have a video kind of vaguely talking about it, which I'll probably put the video title somewhere on the video here. So, and let's see, around that time, I had also fell into psychosis after the whole, he had broken up with me, so like maybe like a month later. But like, I guess like during that in-between time before, like, you know, getting broken up with and into psychosis is I started to learn about like deliverance, or like deliverance ministry kind of stuff. So like pretty much it's like you get like deliverance from like spirits and just like stronghold stuff in your life kind of thing. So during that time I was like fasting and, you know, praying, because like at that time my heart was like really like really hurt. I felt very what's the word, like I guess like suicidal during that time, or just like, you know, what's the point kind of thing, because